Hey everybody, welcome back. Brand new Cabral concept here. This is our Weight Loss and Wellness Wednesday show, dedicated to helping you transform your body and boost your metabolism. Today, what I want to share with you is how to properly assess and know if you have a broken metabolism. Whether it's you, a client, because I know we have many practitioners listening to the Cabral concept, a loved one, I want to make sure that we get this information out there. So if you are someone that is trying to lose weight and you're struggling to lose that last 20 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever it might be. And I know that seems like maybe it's a lot, but we work with plenty of people in our practice who want to lose 40, 50 pounds, 100 plus pounds or more. So when we start getting down to the last 5 to 10 pounds, I want you to know that is not necessarily what we're going to talk about today, a broken metabolism. That's fine tuning the machine. So let's say that you are trying to achieve a healthy BMI, and I know BMI is not the end all be all. I totally get it. Body fat percentage, all of that matters. Totally get it. But we do have to understand that for 99% of the population, BMI matters. Not for the few percent of the people that are going to the gym, getting themselves in peak physical condition. They've got a little bit more muscle in their body. I totally get it. But a healthy BMI. And remember, I always give the analogy, but someone who's 5'8" could have a healthy BMI plus or minus 40 pounds. Literally, a healthy BMI at 5'8" is somewhere between like 120, 160 pounds. So it's a pretty wide swing from that 19 ish marker, 19 and a half or so, all the way up to 24.9. So I just want you to know that there is no one ideal body type. I'm not certainly saying that by any stretch of the imagination, but there is overall health. And the further you get away from your healthy body weight, and again, whether you're closer to the 160 or the 120 depends more on your genotype, right? And the phenotype that obviously you create. That's the Vata Pitta Kapha, or in our modern day language, we call it more of the ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. So I just want to say there is no one perfect body type. However, there is, when we start to get too heavy or too light, more strain on the system, which may lead to disease. And we know that being above our healthy BMI and let's say greater body fat percentage as well can lead to a greater chance of type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. So overall inflammation, and 4 of the 5 top causes of mortality. I would add Alzheimer's, which is often referred to as type 3 diabetes as well. So let's just keep that in mind as we're having this overall weight loss based discussion. And obviously being sensitive that some people gain weight more easily than others. But how do you know though, if your metabolism is literally broken? And I use that in layman terms. I get that. I understand that. Maybe my fellow practitioners won't necessarily like that terminology, and I get it, but I do think that we need to speak the common vernacular, the words of those that we try to serve, and that is what I'm all about, trying to help people. So let's give you these tips right off the bat. If you still have 20 to 30 pounds to go, but your weight won't seem to budge, and I'm going to give you the kind of the 4 or 5 things that most of our clients have done, that is how we know that the metabolism has something wrong with it. It's slowed, it's stalled out, it's broken, whatever you want to refer to it as. So let me take you through them right now. If you have been dieting, so you've been trying to reduce your overall calories, and your weight is now stuck, you can't budge it anymore, and you're 20 to 30 pounds plus, again, not 5 to 10 pounds away from your goal weight, 20 to 30 pounds or more. So meaning that, because here's the thing, it's harder to lose the last 5 pounds. I have a whole podcast dedicated to how to lose the 5 pounds, and I'll link that up for you here today. That's at stephencabral.com/2994. It's a previous podcast. I'll link it up. All previous podcasts are at stephencabral.com/podcast. There's now almost 3,000 that you can literally use as an archive. They're searchable. They're free for you to just type in your search term. Okay, so 20 to 30 pounds away means you still have a good amount of weight to lose. You're not just within 5 pounds, which again is fine tuning. That has nothing to do specifically necessarily with the metabolism, although let's talk about that. All right, so the first one is just you dropped your calories. You started dieting and you lost some weight, but you can't lose anymore. You've been doing it now for not just a week. Again, I want to clarify that as well. It's very normal during the overall weight loss process to have some weeks you lose a couple pounds, some weeks you lose 0, especially for women where it can be somewhat dictated during their menstrual cycle. So if you're premenopausal, you have a menstrual cycle, oftentimes the last 7 days or so of your cycle, it may actually be more challenging or even during your period to lose the weight. So you might find for a period of 10 days or so that you are retaining a little bit more water. But let's say during days 5 through 20 of your cycle, you're able to lose the weight, you keep it off. And so you kind of see that as a rhythm through your cycle. That's not necessarily what we're talking about here today. What we're talking about is you lost some weight and it's been months now, months where the scale is either flat or you're actually gaining a little bit of weight. That's what we're talking about. All right. The next one is this. You've done dieting, you've added an exercise. So more days than not. Like, again, I want to qualify what's exercise. Well, exercise in terms of a weight loss program is about 150 minutes per week. All right. So you can kind of calculate that however you want. It can be 4 days times about 40 minutes. That's appropriate amount of exercise. That's basically what we're looking for per week. It could be 5 days times 30 minutes. Have you done that yet? If not, all right, then that's the next step up, right? So maybe you're getting in your steps. Amazing. We love that. Now let's start to get in 2 to 3 days of resistance training, weight training, and let's get in 2 to 3 days, ideally, of cardio. They're both complementary to each other. One is anaerobic. We're looking at more long-term metabolic benefits. And then one's aerobic, more short-term calorie burning. They're both needed. They're both amazing. I'm not going to say that one's necessarily better than the other. They both do different things. Aerobic cardiovascular can help to bring down the blood sugar levels a little bit more, especially in the short term. And then the resistance training, you get short-term benefit, yes, but you also get the long-term metabolic benefit that we want. So when we add these together, you could do 20 minutes of each on each day. That would be totally fine. Or you could do 2 days strength training, 2 days cardio if you wanted to, and that would be 4 days per week. And you can mix and match however you want. I'm not going to go through a whole workout here today. Of course, I've given out plenty of those on the Training Thursday shows, the Cabral concept. All right, so the next one is exercise. If you've checked that off the list, good. Let's move on to the next one. Have you tried a lower carb diet? And you know what? If you're dieting, you're trying to lose weight, I'm pretty sure most people have. Now, we can go back and forth saying that as long as you control for calories, a low carb diet is going to be basically on par with a lower calorie diet. You know, when they look at research studies and they say, if you take a 1,400 calorie low carb diet or a 1,400 calorie, just let's say balanced macro diet, you can still lose the weight on either one. The low carb diet actually shows just a little bit more weight loss, and that's mostly from a little bit of water retention. But certainly when they look at fat mass, et cetera, that they can see that that starts to drop. So what I would say is this, is that, and I'll be honest with you, a low carb just seems to work better. I'm not saying that efficaciously through science it's going to work a whole lot more better, but it certainly does seem to work a whole lot better for our clients, at least initially, and then we add those carbs back in. So we actually do 21 days of the functional medicine detox or 21 days of our Fatlocity program, either one. Now you can do whatever you'd like. Honestly, I'm just sharing with you what we've done in our clinical practice for decades now, since the late 90s. So we've been doing this a little bit. I know that it works. If there was something that worked better, I'd use that too. I mean, that's the truth. It's like my one job is to get clients the results they're looking for in the safest, so I never skip that step, and the fastest way possible. That's what we do. So 21 days, lower carb, and then we start to add back in healthy carbs like berries first, and then we start to add back in some root vegetables, etc. That's all outlined, functional medicine detox as well as Fatlocity program. Okay, now let's say you've done those, worked great, you started to lose the weight, and you plateaued. And not just for a couple weeks, but a couple months. You've done your dieting, you've done your exercise, you've worked on the functional medicine detox or the fat loss, you've worked on all these different things, and you still have 20 to 30 pounds to go, yet the scale is stuck in place or it's even going up a little bit. Now, this is how we say, okay, there's something going on with the metabolism. Call it a broken metabolism, call it a slow metabolism, call it whatever you want. That's just semantics, right? It's like when conventional medicine labels you with irritable bowel syndrome. You're like, Okay, yeah, I know my bowels are irritable. That's why I came to you, right? Like that's obviously, you don't go to your doctor for them to tell you you have irritable bowels when you already came in saying, I've got bloating, I've got gas, I've got constipation, I've got loose stool, yeah, of course, you have IBS. But what's the underlying root cause? That's what we want to talk about today. You don't need somebody to tell you have a slow metabolism when you can't lose weight, of course, right? So I know that can be very frustrating when a doctor or a coach or someone tells you that. So let's talk about it a little bit more. And I'll be maybe the first person to tell you this. But the more dieting you do and the more exercise you do at this point now will only further slow your metabolism. I want to repeat that. If you have 20 to 30 pounds to go and you've already dropped your calories, you've dropped your carbs, and you're exercising 4 days a week, getting in your daily steps, if you now do more exercise, more dieting, even lower carb like keto, you will further slow and wreck your metabolism. That's the truth. So it's not like, yeah, if you're at 2,400 calories, sure, you could probably go lower. But if you're at, like we see a lot in our practice, 1,200 calories a day, how low are you going to take your calories? 1,000? Okay, well, it's only 200 less calories a day. Probably not going to even help you lose a pound a week. So now let's say you take it down to 800. So now, okay, maybe you can lose now a pound a week at that. For how long? You lost, 4 more pounds over the next month at 800 calories a day. And then what happens? Now you still have 20 pounds to go and now you're eating 800 calories a day. So you're telling me you're going to subsist on 800 calories a day? No, 800 calories a day is putting your body essentially into starvation. Like you are on a very low calorie diet, very low macros, probably very low micros, unless you're really on top of it in using a daily fruit and vegetable powder, an activated multi, you're eating a ton of veggies like for your micros. So I'm worried about that type of diet. So what I want you to do is stop saying to yourself that I'm going to get out of this problem, or I'm going to get out of this issue that I have right now by doing more of what may slow your metabolism. So it's not that I don't believe in diet and exercise. I believe in it to a certain point. And what I've seen over the last 25 years is for many people, they need to get to that next step. And the next step is assessing 3 main parts of your metabolism. All right. I'm not even talking about vitamins and mineral nutrient levels today. I'm not even talking about gut health. I'm not talking about those inflammatory things. I'm talking about 3 parts of your metabolism, because we could do a 3-day seminar on this. But no matter what your gut health looks like, okay, no matter what your omega-6 to omega-3 levels look like, any of those things, no matter what your food sensitivities, if you don't correct for cortisol levels, which is your stress hormones, you don't correct for estrogen dominance, which is your estrogen to progesterone ratio, and you don't correct for your thyroid, pretty much nothing else will matter. Now, you can add blood sugar to that. I don't disagree, right? You can add vitamin D to that. I don't disagree. However, those will most likely show up with imbalanced adrenal output, which is your HPA axis, your hypothalamus pituitary adrenal stress output, or your HPT axis, which is your hypothalamus pituitary thyroid axis, which will slow your thyroid, which slows your metabolism. So besides weight gain, if you also have dry skin, poor circulation to your hands and feet, meaning cold hands and feet, brain fog, foggy thinking, grogginess upon waking, thinning hair, thinning maybe of the outside of the eyebrow, all of these things can also show slow metabolism, slow thyroid. So the thing that I would do is stop trying to diet more and exercise more and say, do I have these signs of a slow metabolism? And if so, well, I should not eat less, and I should not give out more energy, which will only cause my body to conserve more and slow metabolic rate. And we see this in our practice all the time. So here's what we do. We're going to run a very simple at-home lab test to confirm this. It's called the stress, mood, and metabolism test. Now, you can run it with our practice virtually, or you can run it with an integrative health practitioner level 2, pretty much anywhere in the world, or you can run it with a licensed naturopathic doctor that specializes in hormones and metabolism. That's up to you. So I want to present you with the information. What you do with it is up to you. But I can link to it in today's show notes at stephencabral.com/2994. All right, the direct URL, we'll send you over there, but it's just stephencabral.com/hormones-test. Remember, whoever you run it with, not a problem. That's your prerogative. You do what is the right fit for you. But what I want you to look at is what this tests for, because this tests for your metabolism. It's going to look at your estrogen levels, progesterone levels. It's going to look at your testosterone and DHEA. Those are the sex hormones that we're looking at. If you're a female, pre-menopausal, and have a fairly normal 28-day or so cycle, you'll take this lab test around days 19, 20, or 21 of your cycle. That's what you want to do. At peak progesterone, you want to look for it. So and then for anybody else, you can take the lab test any other day that you want. Typically a Monday through Thursday, normal stress day. All right. So then after the sex hormones, it's going to assess. So estrogen dominance, it'll look at that for both men and women. And then it's going to look at your cortisol levels, not just once a day like you get with your blood work, but it's actually going to look at total cortisol output, morning, before lunch, before dinner, and then before bed. Because if your cortisol is elevated at night, it's going to raise blood sugar levels. All right. It's going to stop your body from fully tapping into body fat, utilizing body fat as a fuel source. And it could potentially meaning take away from your deep sleep and your REM sleep, hurting your body's ability to get into a nice parasympathetic nervous system state. After that, we're going to look at your thyroid. Free T4, free T3, right? So that is your metabolism right there, free T3. Not higher than T3, but optimal T3 is optimal for the metabolism. Normal TSH between 0.5 and 2, not all the way up to 5 like conventional medicine says. We'll look at your vitamin D levels, which are optimal between 50 and 70, your insulin levels, and your hemoglobin A1C. So it's a remarkable test to actually look at your metabolism. And then if anything's off, the nice thing is you're able to see it, right? And you're able to correct it through science, through actually lifestyle, the whole de-stress protocol, diet, proper diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest and sleep protocols, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplement protocols, and that success mindset that's going to get you to the next level. We have been doing this for decades with our clients, and I know that the same will work for you. This uncovers how you can take your metabolism and body transformation goals to that next level. So I just wanted you to know that this exists, that this is out there, and this is truly the future of health. This is how you personalize things for your own body. So whether you want to work with our team or not, that's up to you. I just want you to know that this information exists. And by dieting more and exercising more, if you still have 20 to 30 pounds to go and you've plateaued, doing more of that is most likely not the answer. We're going to teach you about reverse dieting. We're going to teach you about certain metabolic boosters that are natural, that are literally proven by science. All of these things are going to help you improve your sleep, improve overall blood sugar levels, improve inflammation, improve digestion, improve all of the things that matter for improving your overall health. So let my team and I know if we can help in any way. Of course, you can reach out to us any way that works for you. Leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube. And for all the details, head on over to stevencabral.com/2994. I'll link up the stress, mood, and metabolism test. I'll link up other shows, which will hopefully provide even deeper levels of information. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you being a part of this community. Do share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.